So we just spoke with Ruben, and he said that he felt that the better side didn't quite get the result today, and he mentioned that you had a couple of words with him in the tunnel. I guess, what did you think of today's result?
Yeah, listen, I'm sure he probably will be a little bit disappointed because certainly first half they had a couple of good chances that maybe could have gone their way. They didn't convert, but certainly I felt in the second half we were the better team, and obviously we got the goal that changes the game and wins the game at the end of the day. So, yeah, I can understand his disappointment, but I felt on overall performance that we might have just nicked it based on our second half performance.
The sides looked a little bit lethargic since coming back from the World Cup break. Plenty of examples in the first half, sloppy passes, cheap turnovers that Perth were unable to capitalise on. How much of a concern is that for you, and what do you think you can do to rectify it?
Well, listen, we noticed that we needed to be better in terms of quality. The turnover has been a bit of a concern for us. And so players fully aware of what the demands are at this football club when you play here, whether it's a nervy start being here, the expectation level has gone up. But yeah, we thought that the players do look a little bit lethargic. We work on it. We got the sports science involved. We got all the database to look at things to try and see what we can do to try and get them going. But yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge since we come back. Our bully, at the end of the day, he's only played the second time, so is Ollie. So these guys with the games that is coming thick and fast over the next couple of weeks, we expect us to get better. And like I said, I've always said to the players, this league seems to be a yo-yo league at the moment. And so we need to try and get a foothold into the games and the league, and we need a little bit more consistency. And today was a significant win for us to make sure we come back on track.
You've got some younger players, particularly Jesper Weber. I understand that the Bulls Academy is in pre-season right now. What does someone like Jesper have to do to crack the starting lineup?
Well, listen, if you
sorry, it says he's even on the bench as well because he's not even fit.
Well, listen, Jesper, he's obviously been injured for a while, and he's just coming back. He's been out for a while. Listen, we like young players. It's something that I've when I got here and inherit and encourage, that we do look at the younger players and sort of engage with them a little bit more. Hence, that's why they practice with us to make sure get that experience. The demands are a little bit different. The body needs to adjust. They're young men. They're still growing. They're still developing. We'll give them that platform to do that. They got to be patient in terms of getting back into the team. And listen, we lost Lockie Rose as well. So, there's always an opportunity for these young players to come. But it's something that we encourage here at this football club.
Before the goal from Arabulli, you're looking at making 3 substitutions. What was the reason behind not making that 3rd substitution?
Well, I think that we, as you said, we look a little bit heavy. We also fear the risk of Arabulli with it's his second game, so we got to be very mindful in terms of the time and not create an injury that was going to, sustain and get him out of the season. So, with the sports science, the sports data that is available to us, we have a certain time that we look at him. And then obviously we got to bring him off to make sure and give him that protection going forward. So that was part of the reason why we needed some injection. We needed to have a little bit more stranglehold on the game. And we think those 3 substitutions I was looking to make might have made a difference. But lucky enough, we scored at vital time.
And you played Jed today from the bench. Is that his position at the moment, coming on as an impact player?
No, not really. I think, again, these are young players who haven't been in these situations before. These guys were playing the NPL, the league below. Young guys who probably didn't have a looking when I came to this football club. What we did, we went and assessed these younger players, and we asked them to come up and join with us so they can get that experience. Now, when you're asking them to make that jump, it takes some time. And, of course, as a manager, you've got to manage these players. You can't put them in every game, every week, because they're still learning and still developing. And we, again, with some of the injuries that he's got back problems, groin injuries, a little bit. So, again, we try to manage these players. But they're crucial to our success at this football club, and there will be times they will play and there are times they won't be playing. But it's my job to manage those situations.
You got the points today, which you'll be very pleased with, but it was far from your best game. So what were you and the boys working with at training to improve this situation for the next games?
Well, I think this game was a significant and important game for us to get back into what we consider the top half of the league. We needed that. We were in 10th place when we started off, and we felt that with the defeat last week, we needed to get back on a positive note. Particularly, I wasn't too interested in the performance, and sometimes ideally you want to play fantastic football and win a game, but today was more about the result for us. And yeah, I'm sure it wasn't the prettiest time, but for us, the outcome that we were looking for was to make sure and get 3 points, and we managed to do that. So credit to the players and keeping a clean sheet, which is something that we need to get back to start building that foundation that we want to build at this football club.
And it was a narrow loss for you in the tight game against Victory last
Yeah.
week. Narrow game that you've won. What are the key differences you noticed between the two games?
But there's a fine line. There's a fine line. There is not much between the teams that we play. And ultimately, it's about taking your chance and not getting done towards the back end of the game, because that's something seems to be happening quite frequently here. We needed to look at that and address that to make sure that we don't concede in the latter stage of the game. So I always feel that when you're in the game, and you always have a chance at this league, and I think those are the fine defining moments, and we managed to do that. We stayed in the game, even though at times Perth had the better of us in the first half, but we felt once we were in the game there was always something is likely to happen, and we've been able to do that. So still learning the league, still understanding what it takes, and I'm hoping and I'm sure we will get better and stronger as we go forward.
You've got 2 away games coming up. They're not really away games, because you've got to go against Sydney and against the Western Sydney Wanderers. How difficult is it to prepare for those, knowing that you're going away, but you're not really going away? Like, you don't have to fly anywhere. It's just a simple bus ride. Sometimes, like, maybe not even the bus, take the car. Like what's that like to prepare for?
Well, that's the beauty of being based in Sydney. I suppose you got the joy of going to these games without having to go on an aircraft. So yeah, listen, we will prepare. It's like an away game. It's obviously an away game for us because it's at their stadium. So our mindset will also be exactly the same. But we are lucky enough that we don't have to travel outside of Sydney for these important games coming up. Wanderers and certainly Sydney FC are 2 of the more known teams in the league, and sure that teams that I'm very familiar with, that we'll be ready and prepare for them.
And perhaps one of the, I guess, less noticed aspects of those is what that might do to squad morale, because they don't have to fly anywhere over Christmas. They can, essentially play on Christmas Eve, go straight home to their families. They don't have to worry about getting in at midnight or, the next morning. Like, how important is that to keep the squad going throughout the season?
Well, it's good. I suppose it's better than actually having to travel to Perth or to Wellington. We are very fortunate that we are based here in Sydney. Gives us the opportunity to do that. The league has been kind enough, or the fixtures has been kind enough for us this year, and hopefully we can use that to our benefit as well, because traveling away on Christmas Eve and stuff and playing at those moments, it can always be a bit challenging. So we hopefully that we'll use those games to our advantage and try to get those 3 points in 2 games that we're looking forward to next week.